Hey, how's it going? I'm Nagaska and welcome back to I Can Do That DIY for another doll repaint video. Today I'm going to be customizing Honey, the doll that I designed and created myself. Alright, let's jump right in. Today's video is going to be a collab. My collab partner is Elisa from Moonlight Jewel. We'll both be making a video game character from Zelda, more specifically Purah. One from Breath of the Wild and one from Tears of the Kingdom. I'll be doing the Breath of the Wild version of Purah. Purah is the foremost authority in the field of ancient relic research and the head of the Hateno Ancient Tech Lab. She is the oldest living Sheikah and Impa's older sister, but due to a botched experiment to reverse the aging process, she currently looks and feels like a 6-year-old. She's enjoying her second childhood and has developed poses and catchphrases to match her appearance. Check it! As you can see, her character design has a ton of detail, so making this doll is going to be super intense but super fun. Alright, let's get into what I 3D designed and sculpted. I had to do a lot of 3D designing for this project. I made a new face, her goggles, a pair of glasses, her flute, 2 eye emblems, her backpack which has a ton of unnecessary detail, and a new pair of flats. The new face and the flats will be available on the website www.thehoneydoll.com. If you haven't already checked out the website, go check it out. There are a bunch of different options for Honey on the website for you to explore. You can customize your own Honey as well as order individual parts. Alright, let's get started with the project. Off screen I printed and prepped the face and the body. Here's how the face turned out. Overall, I'm really happy with how she turned out. I love Purah's bored expression and her really dark eyelids. It makes her look super tired and like she's been working non-stop. Alright, let's start working on the face. To start things off, I'll be laying out the eyes with a watercolor pencil. I'll do one side and then do the other side off screen. While I do that, I just have to say thank you so much for watching and make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the video. Also, make sure to hit that notification bell to stay up to date on all of our latest projects. Also, make sure to follow my Instagram accounts. The Honey Doll will have all updates on Honey, so make sure to follow that one. Once I do both sides, I'll use a red watercolor pencil to lay out the eyelids. After that, I'll use a white watercolor pencil for the eyebrows. Alright, now let's add some color to the face using some pastels. I'll use a light pink pastel to add some blushing to the face. Once I'm happy with the progress I've made so far on my first layer, I'll seal my work with Mr. Super Clear. On the next layer, I'll use a black watercolor pencil to go over the eyeliner. Once I finish up this side, I'll do the same thing on the other side. After that, I'll use a watered down dark red acrylic paint to paint in the eyelids. Again, I'll do one side and then I'll do the other side off screen. Once the paint is all dry, I'll highlight the center of the eyelid with a red pastel. Next, I'll use a white watercolor pencil to highlight the lip. Alright, cool. Next, using a white watered down acrylic paint, I'll fill in the eyebrows. After that, I'll be using a black acrylic paint to paint in the eyeliner. Alright, after that I'll use a buttermilk acrylic paint to paint in some eyebrow hairs. This is a very subtle detail, but I couldn't help myself. After that I'll use a black pastel to shade the eyes. I'll be shading the inner and outer corners of the upper eyelid. Once I do both sides, that'll do it for the face up. I'll seal my work with a layer of Mr. Super Clear, and once that's all dry, we can move on to applying some eyelashes. As usual, I'll be using Kiss brand, this time in the style Flirty. I'll also be using some quick dry tacky glue, some scissors, and a pin. I'll start by measuring the eyelash, cutting it to length, adding some glue to the upper eyelid, as well as to the eyelash. Then I'll stick on the eyelash and mess with the position. I'll use a pin to place the eyelash and scrape away any excess glue. Once I do both sides, I'll set it aside to dry. Off screen, I'll trim the eyelashes so that they fit behind the glasses. Once they're all dry, we can add some gloss. I'll be glossing the waterline of the eyes, as well as the lip. Once everything is all glossed, I'll set it aside to dry. Now let's move on to making the eyes. I'm starting with my typical eye base. I'll start by painting the irises a deep red. Then I'll use a black paint to paint the pupil and use a black pastel to shade it. I'll also be doing the same catchlight positions. Once they're all done, they look like this. Cool! Now let's install them into the head using some poster putty. I usually do a small ball at the top and the bottom. Then I just jam it into the back of the head. Then I just move it around to position it. I'll do one side and then the other side. Next up is the way too detailed and complicated bag. Check it. Off screen I did a base coat of a black Rust-Oleum spray paint, followed up by a gold Rust-Oleum spray paint. I'll start by painting the edges red. Then I'll move on to the accessories. I'll give the flute its contrast tone, as well as make an antenna. Here's how the backpack looks after the red is all painted. I didn't bother painting the back fully because that's where the flap is going. Speaking of which, here's the fabric for the flap. It's a red cotton cut into 2 rectangles. I'll sew them together and turn it inside out. After that, I'll use some super glue and glue it to the back. Next, I'll make the top strap holder out of some Worbla. After I heat it up with my heat gun, I'll shape it around a stainless steel pipe. After it's cooled down, I can take it off. Off screen, I'll paint it red. Next up is the strap. I'll use 2 pieces of yarn. I'll start by taping the top of them, and then I'll twist them together. Once I'm happy with the amount of twists, I'm going to hold it together with another piece of tape. After that, I'll make everything stick together with some got-to-be glued hairspray. I'll do a few generous coats and let it dry. Alright, now let's move on to gluing on the accessories. I'll glue on the antenna, the flute, and then the strap holder. Once that's attached, we can add a rhinestone to the center. After that, we can work on the strap. I'll cut off the excess of the strap, add some glue to the inside of the foot, then stick in the strap, add some more glue, and stick it on. I'll weave the other end through the strap holder. Then I'll measure it on my mannequin, make sure I have the right length of the strap, cut the end, put it into the other foot, and glue it to the base. To finish off the bag, I'll add the back clasp. The clasp does not function, it's just for looks. Alright, I'm just going to pick this off and then move on to the socks. Off screen, I've already ironed on an iron-on vinyl stripe to the side of the sock. Now we're just going to start by hemming the top. After we hem the top, we'll stitch up the back. I'll do this off screen. Here they are. They look pretty good so far. Now I'm just going to add an eye emblem to the top by gluing it on. I'll do one side and the other side off screen. Here are the straps for the shoes. I cut them out of craft foam. Now I'm going to add a rhinestone to the ends. After that, I'll spray paint them with some gold spray paint off screen. Then we can attach them to the shoe. I'll add some super glue to the bottom of one side and stick it on. Then I'll add some glue to the bottom of the other side and stick that on as well. I'll do the other side off screen, and here's how they look. They're super cute. I spray painted the shoes black with a Rust-Oleum spray paint off screen. Now let's move on to the goggles. that was also spray painted off screen. I'll be adding some blue LED lights to the eyes. But the hole in the back is a little too small for the LEDs. I'll be using my drill to make it bigger. I'll just drill out the back until it looks like this. Perfect fit. Now I'll secure the LED lights in place with some UV resin. I'll harden the resin with a UV light. I'll do one side, then the other side. Now let's move on to the wig. I've already prepped everything I need for the wig. Here's the wig cap. As you can see, I've already painted it white and cut the hairline. Now I'm going to mark a hole to put the wires. I painted the base of the wires white off screen. I'll just position the goggles and mark the hole with a pen. Then I'll cut the hole off screen. Then I'll put the wig cap on the doll and mark the position to drill the hole. Then I'll drill the hole in the wig cap. Next we can start applying the hair wefts. Off screen I prepared these hair wefts out of a white yarn. I'm just going to glue them around the perimeter. I'll continue to work my way up and cut and style as I go. Once I get to this point, I can apply the parting wefts. I'll do one side and then press it over. To do this, I'll use a butter knife and my flat iron. I'll put the butter knife between the flat iron to heat it up. Then I'll fold over the hair and press it. I'll do the same thing on the other side. Now we can glue on the goggles. Stick the wires through the hole in the top. Then I'll add some glue to the bottom of the goggles and stick them on. Alright, cool. Now we can start working on the wiring. We're going to wire the LEDs to a coin battery pack. To start off, we'll trim some wires and expose the wires with my wire cutters. Next, I'll twist the black wires together, then the red wires together, then I'll twist those wires to the appropriate positive and negative wires of the battery pack. Alright, now let's check it. Awesome, it looks like it works. Now I'm just going to untwist it, put some heat shrink tubes over the wires, retwist it together and solder it. Then I'll pull up the heat shrink tube and shrink it with heat. Alright, now I'll just wind up the wires and stick them into the head cap. I'll cover up the hole at the top and those wires with the bun. We'll make the bun out of some excess fiber that I made into a poof and some wefts. I'll wrap the poof in some wefts. Then I'll brush it over and style it and hold it in place with some hairspray. I'll do this about 3 times. Then I'll stick a weft into the side of the hair and style that into a spiral. I'll do the same thing on the other side. Then we can glue the bun to the head. I'm just going to add some glue to the head and stick on the bun. Off screen, I made her chopsticks and added them to the wig. They're just painted toothpicks. Now we can add those eye emblems around the base of the wig. I'm just going to glue them on. Alright, cool, those look pretty good. Alright, now let's work on these little wrist wrap thingies. I'll be using a faux leather. I already cut a shape out. And I'll just wrap it around the wrist and glue it in place. Then I'll glue some red embroidery floss to the bottom and wrap that around as well. I'll secure it in place with some more glue and do the same thing on the other side. Now let's move on to making the skirt. I'll start by making the many pleated ruffles of the skirt. These ruffles were a pain in the butt to create. There's actually a bunch of inverted box pleats with an 1/8 inch space between each of the box pleats. Yeah, it was nuts. I pleated them and pressed them off screen, and now I'm just going to hold them in place with a stitch. We're basically creating a ruffle trim right now. I'll sew this ruffle trim to the hemline of the skirt. Next, I'll press the seam allowance toward the waistline and do a top stitch along the seam. I'll do the same thing for the underskirt, and then I'll sew the top skirt to the underskirt at the waistline with a bias binding along the waist. Then I'll press over the binding, pin it in place, and do a top stitch to finish it. I'll do a Velcro closure at the center back. To get a third ruffle under the skirt, I'll make a tiny underskirt. Now let's work on the top. I'll start with this heat transfer vinyl. I've already pre-cut the eye patterns. Now let's just weed out the pattern. This was a huge pain in the butt, but I did all of it. Looks pretty good. Now I'll press them to the appropriate places off screen. This is for around the collar, the headband, and for the back of the bodice. Now I'm going to create the red lip on the peplum. This is 2 pieces, so I'm going to sew along the edge. Then I'll flip it inside out and press it. For the peplum, I've also created the ruffle off screen. It's the same as the skirt. I'm just going to attach it to the peplum. To finish the edge of the peplum, I'll do a lining piece. I'll sew along the edge, turn it inside out, and press it. Then I'll do a top stitch along the edge to finish it. This is also when I'll attach the lip to the peplum. Next, I'll hem the sleeve openings. I'll do one side and then the other side off screen. I'll finish the neckline opening with the collar piece. The bodice is split at the center, so I'll do one side and then the other side. Once it's set into the neckline, it looks like this. I'll press the seam nice and flat and trim off the excess and finish it with some fray check. I'll do the other side and connect the two pieces at center front. Alright, cool. Now I'll press the center front seam. Then I'll sew the underarm seams. Next we can attach the peplum to the bodice. I've pinned the peplum to the bodice. Now I just need to sew along the waistline. Alright, cool, that looks pretty good. Now let's attach the inner collar. It's just some white cotton folded on the bias and pressed. I'm going to glue it to the inside of the other collar. To make the sleeves sploose on, I'm going to do a gathering stitch with some embroidery floss. I'll cinch the sleeve tight on the body and finish it. Also add the finishing embellishments to the bodice off screen. And with that, the doll is complete. So here she is, here's the finished result. Oh my god, Purah is so adorable. I love all of her details, even though the amount of them is kind of insane, but it was kind of worth it. The goggles are by far my favorite thing, and I'm so glad I decided to put LEDs in them. It's a super cool detail, and I'm really happy with it. I tried to keep as accurate as possible while still doing her in my style. I personally really love doing video game characters, and I think I'll do more in the future. I really loved playing Breath of the Wild, and I'm currently playing Tears of the Kingdom, which I also really enjoy. I've actually played a lot of the Zelda games in the past, and I really love them, so I definitely have a soft spot in my heart for this doll. Don't forget that this video is actually a collab, so stick around to see the group shot. Thank you so much for watching the video. Make sure to leave a comment below to let me know what you guys think of Purah. Also, like I mentioned earlier, make sure to check out www.thehoneydoll.com to get your very own honey now. For the rest of the video, enjoy the photos. So here's the group shot. Thank you so much to Elisa from Moonlight Jewel for hosting this collab. I really enjoyed doing it. I think the two Purahs look super cute together. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!